this week's Cats Whiskers TV. Unfortunately, no Paul this week as he's not feeling too well, so get well soon, mate. But Aaron is here as always. And firstly, we're going to be looking back on all the weekend's games and last week. Starting off last Wednesday night, Panthers coming back from the Continental Cup, 4-1 victory against the Caps. I think some will argue it was probably not the best match that we've ever had, but it was a much needed 2 points.
Yeah, I think I said on last week's show, for me it wasn't so much about the performance, it was get through the game and get through it with 2 points, and we managed to do that. Yeah, it wasn't the most exciting game. Nothing really majorly happened either in it, really, did it? It was just sort of passed us by sort of thing, but like I just said, it was a very crucial 2 points for us.
Especially with the form that the Capitals have been in recently as well. It could have been a potential banana skin, but thankfully the Panthers managed to come through it quite well. And of course a hat-trick for David Clark.
Well, cometh the hour, cometh the captain. He was in a bit of form, well, you could even say during the Continental Cup as well, really, wasn't he? So he's been on it for a while, and that's what Clarkie can do, and it probably would have taken somebody, one player to stand out and sort of grab the game by the horns and go, do you know what, we're gonna win this game, we're going to get it out of our system and we're going to get the 2 points. And well done to Clarkie, but well done to everybody as well, because coming off the Continental Cup, to then go into a league game that, in games that we've got in hand as well, which is extra pressure because we need the points basically. It's a team performance, but well done Clarkie.
So on to Friday night now, and of course the Dundee Stars dropped to third in the league after the Clan with their fantastic form recently. So they had an important game against Coventry Blaze, who was starting a triple header weekend on Friday night, and Stars with a 3-0 win.
I know, yeah. Take that, Blaze. Yeah. Welcome to Scotland. Cracking performance. Shutout as well. Not the greatest start to the weekend from the Blazes' point of view, but
and it appears Adam Henrich, who's of course their top point scorer, he's having a scan this week, I believe, on a potential leg injury. So that which occurred in that game. So it was bad news all round on Friday night for Coventry. Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, look, Coventry's just got some important players that they've had in previous seasons back. Egner, Guthrie as well. They would be hoping that they'd be building onto this and trying to really make a statement last weekend. But look, the Stars aren't where they are in the league for no reason and by fluke. They fully deserve where they are at the moment. And it's tough for any team going up there. But I think the most pleasing thing from a Stars point of view is the shutout. Because shutouts aren't easy in this league, and to get that at home, really good start to the weekend for them. But from a Blaze point of view, very disappointing. But the weekend overall wasn't, that disappointing come Sunday night.
Well, let's move on to their Saturday night game. They was taking on the Fife Flyers and managed to come away with a 4-2 victory. Of course, as we all know, Fife is not the easiest place to go to and get a result, so that's a really good performance by the Blaze to come back from the disappointment of Friday night, losing your top scorer but still managing to get the result.
Yeah, well, it's a bit sort of not a wake-up call, but you've lost your first game. We've said this in previous sort of episodes of this programme, when Panthers have had these 3-game weekends and even 2 games weekends as well, is if you lose the first one, you're really up against it. You've got to get something out of the remaining game or games that you've got there. And in that sense, maybe the Blaze just went, what, we've got to win. We've got to win this. We've got to get the 2 points. Fife isn't an easy place to go. It's the crowd's going to be raucous, as we've said. It's time for players to stand up in that situation, and credit to the Blaze and the Blaze players. Sorry, they did stand up and they got a 4-2 victory. So from that point of view for the weekend, it was 50-50. It was a remainder to see what they were going to get from the rest. But Fife, they would have been hoping that they might have been able to get something from that game with the Blazes result. On the Friday night, they might have thought, this is an opportunity for us to, pile more misery on the Blaze here. But it wasn't to be.
Of course, Stars' victory on Friday night put some pressure back on the Clan to reclaim that second place. So they had a home game against the on fire Edinburgh Capitals, I think, as we said. Despite being 3-1 down, Capitals coming away with a 5-4 overtime win at Braehead Arena. That is one hell of a result for them.
They're on a roll, aren't they, really? They've come into a bit of form. And I think for me, the biggest thing from that is it's confidence. You know, wins give you confidence, whether you're a Belfast, a Nottingham, a Sheffield, or whether you're an Edinburgh, a Fife, a Dundee. Wins, you know, they breed confidence within the team, and they're flying at the moment. But I think even to get that OT winner as well just piles a bit more. You know, it's like an extra punch in the guts, isn't it, for a boxer? You know, you really do feel that. So they'd be even more buoyed by that, and from a Clan point of view, they would have been hoping that they'd be able to nick that, you know, and sort of escape with the 2 points, because Affinity, they've had a lot of sort of road games over the last month or so, and we've been saying that the home form is going to be crucial for Braehead as well. So they'd be a little bit disappointed that they didn't manage to just nick that and get the 2 points out of it. But they got 1 point, so it's better than none.
I think it's of course worth pointing out that the Clan are suffering from injuries at the moment. I believe Goldie is out long-term injured. I think Bergen was out for them. Tristan Harper, of course, received a ban last week, which one of their British players, and Lust as well, who's been banging some points in for them. Yeah. So they, I mean, obviously we'll come on to Sunday night a little bit later, but with that sort of nucleus of the side removed. They probably are going to struggle. They are.
I mean, earlier on in the season that they've been short benched. We talked about when they came down to Sheffield, but this season, the way the bans are being handed out, the way that the players are reacting and getting these bans, teams are gonna be short benched, or they're going to be imports down and stuff like that. You're gonna get injuries throughout the season. It's the luck of the draw, unfortunately, isn't it? It's the way the cookie crumbles, as they say. So, we can't. I don't think any team should really sort of complain and use, suspensions and injuries as an excuse, because they do happen. It's a shame, obviously, and it doesn't help any team at all. But yeah, I'm sure that had an effect on the game. But Braehead would still be hoping at home they'd be able to get a result there.
In the Challenge Cup on Saturday, Hull took on the Sheffield Steelers in their final Challenge Cup group game. Sam Balm was there. Here's his report.
I'm here to talk about the Hull Sheffield game. It was a Challenge Cup game which the Steelers won 2-1. It was not a particularly exciting game. Few chances for each side, and the Steelers took 2 of theirs and Hull only took 1. Hicks was his usual brilliant self. There was no way Chilcott should have got a 5+ game for cross-checking, and Hewitt made a meal of it, as he always does. Obviously now Hull have 2 import slots to fill with the departure of Suderman. There's a parting shot at the fans and the referees in the league. Hopefully Cloutier can get someone in before the Scottish weekend. I think the ban is still on for Campbell, so they can only bring in 1 import. So 1 is better than none, obviously. So if they can get someone in before then, that'll be good for them going to Scotland this weekend.
Sam there reporting on Steelers against Stingrays at the Hull Arena. Not a difficult place to go and get a result, so a good performance by the Steelers there.
It was a Saturday, wasn't it?
Sorry?
It was a Saturday, so they were going to win.
Well, they were going to win it. It's a Saturday night, yeah. Of course, 1 game left on Saturday, and I'm afraid we've got to mention it, haven't we? The Premier Sports Game of the Week, live on Premier Sports. Panthers against the Devils at the Big Blue Tent. Wasn't the greatest, was it?
No, I subscribed for that and all, really. I paid £95 for that.
Yeah, me and all.
Wow. What a great performance by the Devils, hey?
Well, to be fair, you've got to say, they tore us a new one. I think the kindest way of putting it. They absolutely ripped us apart. We just didn't have an answer for them.
With all due respect to both teams and the Panthers, there was only one team really that looked like they wanted to win that, and that was the Devils. We we can go on about and we say, you know, every week that, you know, the big blue tent is a difficult place to play. You know, Fife is Hull. You can only say that so many times. You know, a team like Panthers, really, we should be going in there and putting in a performance. You know, no, you can't guarantee a result every game. That's fair enough. But I think the most disappointing thing from that is the performance. You know, first period you could say that yes, we were. You know, it's pretty even to a certain degree. You know, going in 1-0 down, it's. You'd be hoping that you get a reaction from the team and they'd be coming out because the game was still there to be won. You know, there was going to be goals in that game, you could see. I think it's just disappointing that it then turned into just a bit of a row, really, from the Devils' point of view. But credit to the Devils, they obviously, you know, Brent Pope obviously got them wound up, got them, you know, like a lion out of a cage, ready to go and sort of, you know, rip to shreds the prey, and we just, like you say, we didn't have an answer for it, and it's disappointing, you know, and that's not really the Panthers that we're used to seeing, really.
No, I think the thing for me in watching the whole game was that so many Devils players stepped up. You had Burbright. I thought Ben Davies was absolutely outstanding for the whole game. Lacosta in goal was brilliant. Their defence was rock solid, and the whole team stepped up and played as a unit. The Panthers just completely. It was shambolic at times. There was no passing. The passing was terrible. Players looked like they'd not even met. You know, it was just. It was probably it was horrible to watch, and that's the first time we've been shut out for nearly 2 years. Yeah. And you just think, oh God, they chosen to perform like this on live television.
Well, it's a bit like Forest, really. Whenever we're on Sky, we don't really perform, so it must be a Nottingham thing.
Other Nottingham football teams are available.
Yes, they are. You can go down the road and see Notts County, but I wouldn't at the moment. But like you say, every team, every player from the Cardiff Devils, you know, stood up and got counted for. I mean, on Lacosta, that's the first time I've seen him, you know, play, and I've read a lot about him. We've spoke about him on that form. You know, really, you're looking at potentially the netminder of the season there. Really, because he just saved everything. I can't really remember really one chance where you thought, oh, hang on a minute, you know, there were pretty routine sort of saves here and there. And I mean, I wouldn't say that it was, you know, it's not from a lack of trying that the players, you know, perform like that. I think we've got to.
The effort was there.
Yeah.
No qualms that the effort was.
Yeah, we've got to see that because, you know, but it just didn't. It just wasn't fluid, and I mean. For me, this season, it's happened on a few times that we have not looked, you know, fluid. The type of hockey that we're playing just doesn't look like the hockey that we're used to seeing. You know, the sexy Nielsen hockey, as people like to call it. Now, I guarantee you're not going to get that every game. You might not get that for, you know, large chunks of the season. But if that's not happening, you'd like to think there's a bit of a plan B, that, you know, you're going to get something else. I mean, what I would, well, you know, obviously, you know, Callis got the man of the match, and I think that was probably fair justice, really, you know, because he did, you know, try to get things going to a point of view. But at the end of the day, you just have to say fair credit to the Devils. You know, they put in probably their best performance of the season so far, and they just totally outplayed us, and we got. You know, we got a good scene too, and you know, that's not nice to see, and it's not nice to see on Premier Sports TV when you've just paid for it either. But you know, what can you do? It just wasn't good.
Of course, one incident coming out of that match was the check to the head from Jensen on Ben Davies.
Yeah.
In real time, it looked bad.
Yeah.
And I was surprised it only got called 2 minutes for interference. Of course, when they showed the replay, which has since been on somebody put on YouTube, I think it's quite obvious. It's an obvious check to the head, and frankly, I can't argue in any way with a 3-game ban.
No, I think we texted, didn't we, and we sort of said, you know, that's, you know, you can't really complain fair, because, you know, he leaves the ice, you know, he sort of. His eyes are towards, you know, towards the opposition, and You know, he
Well, his shoulder went straight into his face. It looked a directed hit as well, because he knew it. He knew exactly what he was doing.
He knew he was there, and he knew what was about to happen. I mean, I think that's just pure frustration. You know, you're getting a C into. You know, it's not nice to watch. I can't imagine it's very nice to play in. Not saying that's any excuse or anything like that. I'm just trying to maybe think why that happened and why the hit was made. So 3-game ban. It's within the rules of the Elite League. I don't. You've not heard anything from the Panthers. You've not really heard anything from Panthers fans. I think fair play. It's just deserved, and we have to suck it up and get on with it. But I would say the main thing for me was pure frustration of how the game was going and how the team were performing.
I was talking to Andy Haywood actually last night after the game, and we was talking about that particular incident. And he was saying the annoying thing for him was that we were 5-0 down, there was 5 minutes to go, there was absolutely no need for him to do it. And the thing is, it puts us in the hole, because it now means we're in import down for 3 games, having been 2 imports down up until Saturday night. It's not ideal, especially when you've got injuries, and it has to be said, the team look a bit tired after the Continental Cup.
Well, yeah, we do. What is it? I can't remember how many games it is in so many days.
I think when we play on Friday, it'll be 7 in 12.
Yeah, 7 in 12. Yeah. So yeah, granted, we're going to be tired, but tired bodies, tired minds. It comes with each other. Yes, you think, is there any need to do that? But these sportsmen, they have that little streak in them when they're not literally, if they're playing in that game. I agree with what Andy's saying. Yeah, there is no point really. You're 5-0 down, you've lost the game, there's 5 minutes to go. You just try and get out of it with no injuries and no suspensions. But we've got the suspension. I mean, what I was going to say is they have these in them, and it's just. He's not going to be. He's skating around. He's obviously going to be annoyed. He's frustrated. He's not going to be thinking, well, there's 5 minutes to go. That's not realistically going to be in the back of his mind. I know you should say that it should be, but they're not. They're going to be in that. They're involved in that moment, and you don't know whether something. Anybody could have said something on the ice. Could have. Had a slight slash. You don't know, which has riled him even more. So then he's not thinking. But like I say, tired bodies, tired minds, and. Yes, it puts us in a hole really, but what can you do? We've been import D down. Let's be an import forward down for a few games.
Of course, before we move on to Sunday's game, just want to talk about the coverage. Premier Sports, obviously their second live game. I thought it was excellent. I was really, really impressed with not only the production. Okay, there were a few teething issues with graphics and things like that, but it could easily be glossed over and changed and improved. I thought Aaron Murphy really good, and I really was impressed with Neil Russell, the coach from a view from the bridge. I think Premier Sports have been very brave actually in bringing in probably unknown quantities to come and cover the hockey, and I thought they both did really, really well. They both had. It was obvious that they both had a load of knowledge. They'd done their research, commentated really well. I was very, very, very impressed.
Yeah, I mean, you wonder what. I mean, like I say, I subscribed that afternoon for it, and I tweeted after saying, it was great, great production, great commentary by Murph and by the coach, and the coach followed me, so thank you very much, coach. But I mean, the only thing I would say, unless we've done a Cardiff and decided to change our coach and bench coach and stuff like that, Corey Nielsen is our head coach, not assistant coach. But you never know, we might have done a Cardiff, who knows. But no, apart from that, I thought the highlights at the start were nice. It's nice to see highlights. Nice to hear from coaches and stuff like that. And like you say, when giving the coach, the job for that night, giving Paul Wheeler from Coventry, the one before, they've obviously gone with that that view, and you have to say fair play to them. Hockey is, in this country, it's kind of like a community. It's it's a hockey sort of family, and I know that's like the same in Canada, America, even in Europeans. So in that sense, it's nice to see people from the community, get an opportunity and promote the sport. And fair play to Premier Sports for going with that view and for sticking by it. But I think that's a great way how they've started, and I can only imagine they're going to be looking to improve that week on, and it's only going to get better over time. So I'm happy that I've subscribed and paid the money. I just wasn't very happy with the result. So
of course, in a couple of weeks as well, they're in Fife, and that should come over very, very well.
That's what it's going to be like, isn't it? It's going to be interesting when they go to these different, when they're not at a Sheffield, or they're not at a Nottingham, or they're not even at the BBT. They are at an old freezing cold rink like Fife, and they were. You could hear the fans on Saturday night. You can only imagine what it's going to be like, in Fife. It's that's really what you're going to. And I think from their point of view, that's probably what you want. You want to get across the different atmospheres and what it is actually like to play in these, rinks, and you're definitely going to hear that in Fife. So yeah, it should be interesting. But yeah, cracking job by them, and I think it's a well worth investment, and it'll be interesting to see how they get on throughout the season.
Well, we're going to move on to Sunday now. Of course, the reverse fixture, Cardiff were at the NIC on Sunday night. Our correspondent from Cardiff, Sean Phillips, was there, and here's his view of the game.
Okay, so just back from the Panthers-Devils game in Nottingham. Panthers coming away with a 3-2 victory. Probably deserved. They had a very poor first period. The Devils went into the first period break with a 1-0 goal coming from Max Beerbrier. The Devils were really energetic in the first period. Played really hard, created some good chances. Probably should have been more than one up. Dan Lacosta was on fine form. But in the second, Nottingham, really came out of the gates, ready to play. And I think it was about 20 seconds in, something like that. But Caprero plays a good pass to Farmer. Farmer makes a good move around Mark Richardson and pops the puck in the goal. It was an absolutely beautiful goal from Robert Farmer. Hopefully the first of many for the Panthers, but not too many against us if you could, Mr. Farmer. And then not too long after, the Panthers get a power play, and Caprero's right there on the left circle on the power play to fire an absolute bullet past Dan Acosta, who had no hope of stopping it whatsoever with all the traffic in front of the net. So and then the Panthers went and got a third goal, which kind of the Devils weren't great in the second period. We do tend to have that habit of having a very bad second period, and it just so happened that Nottingham had a very good second period. But in the third it was more balanced. I think that the Devils did create a lot of chances, got a second goal. Jake Morissette, very, very good plays. Finally clicked and come out of his shell, and very patient on the puck and sort of waited to pull the trigger until Conway was out of position. And a great goal by him, and it made for an exciting finish. And I think that that goal made for it to be an exciting game overall. The noise wasn't very good in Nottingham. I'm very passionate about this game, and I think that considering that Nottingham were up by 2 goals, that the noise level was very poor up until the last 5 minutes, when it really did erupt, and they got behind their team to hang on, and the Devils fans were the same. When we were 3-1 down, it wasn't very loud in our block either. I was sort of chanting by myself at that time. A good game, really solid game. Always a good place to go in Nottingham. Love the castle, love the fans. But yeah, all in all, a great day. So thank you to the Nottingham fans for making it a good one. Thank you for the Devils players for playing so hard, despite all the things going on off the ice. So thank you guys, and hope you guys have a good week.
Sean Phillips' views on the game there. Obviously, we needed a win last night, and thankfully we got it.
Yeah, thankfully, being the operative word. After the first period, you're sort of thinking, "Oh my God, here we go again."
Because the first period was almost a continuation of Saturday night, wasn't it?
I was just going to say, you think, you sat there and you think, "Oh my God, it's going to be the same as last night. It can't be, surely, can it?" But it was the second period that won it for us, and yes, it's, when it got to 3-2, you're thinking, oh, please, hang on, please. And that's what they did. We got the 2 points, much needed 2 points. We had to get points from this weekend, just gone. And we needed it to go into the game, against Belfast. We needed some confidence, because after that Saturday night, you're going to be low on confidence. It's going to hurt you, and maybe that's why the first period was like it was. We still had the effects of Saturday night, but I thought it was great to see Werner back. Obviously, fantastic to see him back on the ice.
Do you think he was fit?
Well, I mean, I'd like to think that if he wasn't fit, they wouldn't have put him out there personally, because the injury that he's had and how long he's been out, it's not just a small injury that you can sort of go, well, go on. We'll
I thought he was grimacing in pain a little bit at times, but he lasted to the end, so he was there at the end. So I felt a bit better once I saw him there.
Yeah, I think with an injury like that, though, I think you're not going to just get straight on the ice and be the player that you were. You're going to get, I'm sure pretty much after the game and probably, this morning as we record this on Monday, he would have been sore. Yeah. Because he's been out a fair while, and you can't just get back on the ice, and you can do it in practice and stuff like that. But the game, the adrenaline, the nervousness, it all takes effect. And your first period, you could think, oh, hang on, is he looking, is he looking a bit uneasy and stuff like that? But I think he grew stronger as the game, went on as well. So I think, and I'd like I said, I wouldn't think as a club we would put him out on the ice if he wasn't fit. So I think it was great to see him.
Farmer's goal. Oh, what a goal! And I think he's going to be a big asset to this Panthers side.
Well, I think when you listen to interviews and you read reports and stuff like that, Farmer's somebody that the Panthers had their eye on in the summer and saw as a potential, which we'll talk about maybe a little bit later on. With our hot topic, but cracking goal, and he's only going to grow. A great addition to the squad. When we're short on bodies and stuff like that, and he's a great find. But Cardiff still looked gritty. They still looked. Look at Matty Myers. He was having words with a few players. He was in their face and everything. But to be honest, I'm just going to say, I think we have to give credit to Neil Conway in a way, because he's just had a hiding. He's conceded 5, which they're not all his fault. It's a team performance.
Well, he was hung out to dry a bit on Saturday.
Well, yeah, but this is and you hear sometimes read on Twitter, oh well, we wouldn't have lost 5-0 if K-Wall, if we had K-Wall in.
You can't say that.
Look, we all know what K-Wall gives us, and we all know, and it's a little bit. I think it's a little bit harsh on. Conway, that everybody's going, well, if K-Wall's here and stuff, when's K-Wall coming back? It's, Conway, isn't it? He's not a bad netminder. It's just that we've been used to K-Wall for so long, and he's given us so many good games and won us so many points that it's almost, you automatically go into a thing of, oh, well, hang on a minute, K-Wall will be better. So, I think Conway deserves some credit for his performances over, since he's been here, and especially on Sunday night as well, because at 3-2, Cardiff looked possibly...
They were peppering the net. I honestly thought they could snatch an equaliser, but credit to us, we managed to hold on.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, it was either going to be 3-3 or 3-2. We never really looked at making it 4-2, really. And credit to the guys. They put in a strong second period performance that I believe won us the game, and we managed to hold on for 2 points that we desperately needed, and that's all we could have asked for from that night.
Of course, Sunday saw Coventry's final game of their triple header, and Caps beating them 5-4 in overtime. Caps, of course, 4-2 up going into the last five minutes. So I think they'll probably be a bit disappointed they didn't get the regulation win. But a 4-point weekend for the Capitals, and that's, well, I mean, 2-3 weeks ago, were we stood here expecting the Caps to get a 4-point weekend?
Well, no, No, we wouldn't, because about a few weeks before that, they were still looking to pick up a win, let alone 4 points. But they were always going to get wins from somewhere, and like I said previously, it's about confidence, and they would have been buzzing.
It seems that Panthers win over the Panthers that they had a couple of weeks ago, it was just absolutely kick-started their season.
Well, it was the monkey off the back, wasn't it? It's always the way in any way of life. You get the monkey off the back, and you can finally, sort of the shoulders, that gets a little bit easier and stuff like that, and they've beat, they took some big scalps as well.
Look who they've beaten. I mean, so they've beaten Panthers, they've beaten Giants, Clan, and then Coventry. I mean, that's a really good. That's phenomenal.
And look back to last season as well. That they were well capable of pulling those results out last season, and they did it down here. 4 points. Realistically, would they be thinking that they might have got 4 points from this weekend? I think any Edinburgh fan, and they would have properly hold their hands up and go, do you know what? We've been aiming for 4 points, obviously, but realistically, if we can get 2, maybe nick a extra 1 somewhere, then fantastic. But I think it's just great for the league. It's great. You don't want to see any team, struggling and being at the bottom and getting trounced and not picking up points. I think it's fantastic, and well, let's see where it takes them, because they're rocking and rolling,
and looking at their forum, their fans are absolutely delighted as well. They should be. So that's a cracking run of form for Caps. Obviously, for getting the beat Hull as well, of course, last Sunday. Great stuff
from the Blaze, though, isn't it? Really.
Yeah. I mean, Blaze 3 points out of the 6 available. I think they'd have expected probably a bit better than that.
Yeah,
but
they'd be hoping for 4, wouldn't you? I suppose. Yeah. Minimum, really, but.
So, moving on again, and Giants' only game of the weekend was against Dundee. Dundee, of course, on a high after a 3-0 victory over the Blaze on Friday, but Giants, they just keep pulling them wins out of the bag.
Those pesky Giants, eh? When are they just going to lose?
Well, they're the only team that are showing any sort of consistency. They're consistently winning, and they're starting to pull away now. They're forming a gap, and I think if this tomorrow night, Tuesday night game, which we'll be covering in the next part, if they win that, then that's a big cushion they have.
It is. And look, you have to give credit to any team that managed to be consistent in any sport. Consistency wins you titles. Tables don't lie. They're at the top for a reason. They've not really had many injuries, though, have they, compared to maybe other sides? And they've not had. I know Keith's been suspended, on the odd occasion.
But then again, we had the same thing last year.
Yeah,
if you remember, it's lucky, but you have to play with the cards you're dealt with, and they've been dealt a good hand. They've got a good coach, and if you consider that they've been away from home as well for the last few games, they're sort of getting this road warrior tag. So.
Well, I know, and then they've tweeted in, haven't they, regarding road warriors. But
the Giant Glenn, we asked how the weekend went, and he went all warm and fuzzy inside. #road warriors, and he's absolutely right.
Pretty much how I felt last year, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, look, I'm not saying that whether it's luck or what, they've not had that many injuries. Keith's been suspended every now and again for a few incidents.
Well, they're down 2 imports at the minute with Mason and Lloyd out. So, they're down to 9 imports.
Does anybody miss Lloyd? Really? Just joking, Darrell. But no, look, we've said it before. AD's gone playing a nice form of hockey. They're winning. They're 4-1 away from home after, like we said, Stars just had a great result against Coventry at home. They'd be looking to put another number on them, but the Giants have got the taste and got the smell of success at the moment, haven't they? But look, until really, the games in hand have been caught up and it's a little bit more even regarding games, we'll then see how close it is. But yes, by all means, and we'll cover it later on in the next part, but if they win tomorrow night, yes, it's not looking good.
Of course, next game we'll look at is Hull against the Clan. Second home game for the Stingrays this weekend. 4-3, overtime and penalty win. First time Hull have won on penalties, I think, for 2 years or something. I was reading. I mean, that's something like 12 attempts at a shootout win, and they've lost the last 12, and now they've won on penalties, so all credit to them. Of course, something coming out of that game is that Matt Suderman, their captain, has left the club citing personal reasons, parting shot in the Hull Daily Mail today, where he's blaming the fans and fans' criticism and the officiating. You know, it's not good to read that sort of thing.
It's not nice, you know, from a league point of view, and I can't imagine the Hull Stingray fans will be very happy to hear that as well. I mean, fans are entitled to their opinion, obviously.
Yeah, obviously, and fans are always going to criticise players. You know, it's part of the job, and I think you know, if you're a professional hockey player, unfortunately, sad as it is part of the territory, and that goes for any sport, I think.
I agree with that, but I think, you know, and he talks about it, you know, receiving messages and stuff like that, which I can only imagine might be, you know, via social media. I think that's where it oversteps the mark. To a certain degree, you know, you pay your money to go and watch that game. You know, you pay your money for your season ticket. Yes, you're entitled to voice your opinion, you know, on performances. What I would say, I think, and unfortunately, sometimes in this country, and any, you know, and this is in other sports as well, it goes over that line a few times, and it gets a little bit personal and a little bit, you know, just too much. And I think if you're receiving messages over Twitter or Facebook or even, you know, personal messages, that's a bit harsh. And, you know, by all means, you know, you can boo, you can, you know, say something that's not very nice, as long as it's not, you know, too much. But it's for me, it's not nice to you know, read another player criticising officiating in this league, and we've had it before in the past. You know, unless you're Tom Darnell, and, you know, he wants another 9 Darnells, so, you know.
Yeah, watch it, Tom. You'll be struggling to get through the door.
I wonder he's got the nickname Hollywood. Do you know what I mean? But it's not nice to see the officiating, you know, being criticised as well in this league.
Fairly so, I think from our European experience, you realise the officials in this league are not that bad.
Well, I was just going to say he's not played in the Continental Cup recently, has he? Because I'm not sure he'd be saying that if he had. But it'll be interesting to see how the Stingrays react to that and see who they get in.
Going back to the game, of course, it was Clan's second overtime defeat of the weekend. So, although being beaten, they managed to pick up the points, which isn't a bad thing. We've got a tweet from one of their fans, Ticket Ted, and he pointed out about the injuries. Losing Lust, Goldie, Bergin, Harper from your lineup. Yeah. You know, that's always going to damage your team, and you're going to struggle. One other thing we do want to mention, though, is we had a tweet from Giso, who's a Clan fan. Just want to say special mention to the Hull Stingray fans for support shown regarding the recent helicopter crash in Glasgow. And I think there was a collection, and well over £200 was raised, which is a fantastic gesture from the Stingrays fans. Fabulous.
Fair play to them, yeah. Well done.
Okay. Final game that we're going to look at is Fife against the Steelers, played at the House of Steel last night.
On a Sunday.
And it's a Sunday game where Steelers actually won. Yeah, don't you look so surprised? They actually won on the Sunday. Yeah. Wow. Wonders we'll never see that.
Next.
The world will stop turning. That's what's going to happen next.
All hail Doug. Hey, whoever said that he should be sacked?
Well, actually, I was reading Steel Talk at lunchtime today.
So Doug?
No, not at all. They're still not happy. Apparently, a very, very boring game from what a lot of people are saying. But I mean, I would think that the Fife fans are probably have more of a case to be upset, because no points all weekend. The Colorado Flyers sent us a tweet: 0 points says it all. Bottom of the league is for a reason. So, you know,
tight positives. It's a tight league, though, isn't it? You know, Edinburgh's come up and done some good form of recent, and that's all it takes.
I think if I can get a run together, they'll do it. And there's no reason why they shouldn't. Looking at the one of the players they've got, and also the rink they play in.
Yeah, and I think they're going to yo-yo sort of those, you know, a few teams around that bottom there. They're going to be up down. It's going to depend on runs and stuff like that. But you know, Sheffield finally got the Sunday monkey off their back, and I have no doubt that, you know, Sheffield Steelers will probably now go and, you know, be undefeated for the remainder of the season and trounce the league. So, you know, congratulations.
Can't see it, but Scott Antcliffe was there, and here's his report.
Hi there, back from the Steelers game at the Motorpoint Arena against the Fife Flyers, resulting in a 3-2 win for the Steelers. Not a great game, to be honest with you, bit dull, bit boring, but Steelers did what they needed to do, got the job done and got the 2 points, so that's the main thing. It was the first 4-point weekend for the Steelers in a long time, only a second one of the season, so that was really important. It's good to actually see some consistency. And hopefully we can take that going into a tough Christmas schedule against the Panthers, against the Cardiff Devils. So some tough games coming up, so it's a big win in that sense anyway. Opening period, bit boring, not much to really report on. The only point of interest being an 11th minute standing ovation for Jeff Legui. That was in recognition of him getting his 500th point in the Elite League last night against the Hull Stingrays. So it's good to see Legui get some recognition for his accolade there, so that was good to see. Second period, Steelers took the lead through none other than Jeff Legui with his 501st point. Kevin Reagan, the Flyers goaltender, tried playing the puck behind the net, got caught out. Legui was on hand to basically tap on from close range after he coughed the puck up behind the net. Flyers responded, pulled a goal back through Jordan Fulton on the power play in the 34th minute. Pretty nice goal, nice one-timer from the right wing point, nice finish from Fulton. Steelers responded and regained the lead through Rob Sirianni. Really good play, good perseverance from Sirianni, who's been a bit inconsistent recently. You know, he came in, got a hat-trick on his debut, 2 goals the following night, but after that he's been a bit hit and miss, been a bit quiet. And so it's good to see him get a goal, and a nice one at that, a top shelf wrist shot from the slot as he was sort of sprawling to the floor after a good sort of, you know, a good play in the Flyers zone. Going into the third period, we got a quick goal early on to give us a 3-1 lead. That goal coming from Stefan Meyer. Really nice goal, nice one-timer from the right wing slot, good finish, and good to see Stefan Meyer in the lineup after a recent injury, so that was good to see. That sort of lead was short-lived. Flyers pulled one back, got their second goal of the night in the 42nd minute, courtesy of Danny Stewart. Nice play from Jordan Fulton. He found him through traffic, back post, with Stewart on hand to tap on from close range. Then after that, basically Steelers shut up shop, and we ground the Flyers down. Nothing much to report on after that. Flyers pulled the goal in the final minute, but Steelers hung on, killed the game off, and got the all-important 2 points. And hopefully that will, like I say, give us some momentum going into a tough Christmas schedule. And hopefully, you know, it can be the start of an upturn in form.
Scott there with his report from Sheffield. Okay, that's it for part 1 of this week's show. Part 1 should be available, well, it will. As you're watching this, it's available now. We'll be filming some of part 2 after Tuesday night's game between Panthers and Giants, so that will be available sometime on Wednesday, we are hoping. But thanks for watching this part of the show. We will see you again in part 2.